Hi, this is Peter. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Cane Pole Instruction Edition. Today we're going to talk about wacky rigged worms. And what I use is the Zoom finessed or the Zoom trick worms, the trick worms being a little bit shorter. I will show you how to rig it up, and I do two different ways of rigging, and I'll show you the casting. We may or may not catch any fish, but this is more about showing you the technique than it is anything else. Okay, this right here is my box I keep my wacky rig kit in. You notice there's several different colors of worms. Each one of these have a different purpose in life. If you'll notice, we've got the trick worms here, and then the finesse worms here. You notice the difference in size. I've been going a lot more with the finesse worms recently, just because most of the fish I catch are smaller, both at home and the club. All right, the hooks I use, and I have a couple different sizes. I ordered these off of eBay out of China. Are a weedless hook. They have this little spring that prevents them from getting snagged by the weeds when you put the worm on. Alright, now today I go with that color right there. Now, up here, slightly different size hook. Like I said, I had several. What I do is I take the hook. The worm has what you would call an egg sac, and it has a flat side. I take the hook right behind where the egg sac is. Now that's hard to see. And I just hook the worm through the body, just behind the egg sac, so it's like over half the worm in the back, under half in the front. And then put the weedless on. Now most people run a wacky rig just like I just showed. I do a slightly different method, and I'll show that later on. But all you're going to do is you're going to cast it out. Give it a chance to sink, which these are kind of neutrally buoyant, so it takes them a minute to sink. And once they sink, you're just going to twitch them and let them sink again. Then twitch and let them sink. Work that the whole way in or along whatever weed bed or whatever you're fishing, trees, stick-ups, etc. Now, like I said, I'm not doing this for the fishing. I'm doing this more to show the technique. Now, if you look over here at this little sloppy weed bed right here to my right, I'm going to take this worm. I'm going to show you why I use the weedless hooks. I'm going to pitch it right up in there on that. Now if you notice, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's going across the weed bed, and once I get to the edge, it falls down. Now we've got some algae growing, so I know I got a little algae on the hook. This can get a little expensive because when you catch a fish, you will tend to lose your weeds, or you lose your worm. You don't lose your hook. But if that wasn't full of that algae, put it over here. See how that landed all up in that? That's coming right out. Try and keep it out the algae. Now, that's your basic wacky rig. What I like to do is slightly different. I'm going to give myself a little slack. And even nothing will help you keep that algae off your hook or knots or anything. Now what I do, it's a little bit different, because I like to add a little weight to this rig. And the weight I add, I put in the head of the worm. This could be done with a piece of, pencil lead. I don't mean pencil lead, I mean lead that's, like a pencil. It could be done with a finishing nail, or I like to use these roofing nails or roofing tacks because they have this flat head. Now what I do is I simply poke the nail into the head of the worm like so. I'll get you a close up on that. And you see how that weights the head of the worm. Now, when you cast this out, and I'm just going to give it a little flip, it sinks a lot quicker. and you work it with that same twitch, this allows you to actually feel on the bottom as you move it. Do a long cast here. Let it sink. I usually like to let my ripples kind of die out and give it a little twitch. Sink and twitch. I'll go ahead and reel this in and we'll stop film for a minute. Alright folks, I've tied on this pink worm, which is one of my wife's favorites. The first bass she ever caught was on a pink worm, so I always have to keep them. But that shows you what it does. This is fairly shallow water. See how it sinks like that? And then when you twitch it, it comes up and wiggles. That's without the weight. Alright, now this has the weight in it. Now watch what it does. It sinks straight down with the weight in the head, but when you twitch it back up, it twitches a lot more erratically. See if I can't show that a little bit better in this shallower water. See how that? And that's what it's going to do when you work it. That's a Wacky rig. If I catch any fish this afternoon, I'll take pictures of it and tag it on. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will do my best to reply. Okay. Come on. Lift him out. As I said, with them flipping, stop it. You're likely to lose the worm. But that's the hook in the top of the fish's mouth. Get a little more slack on my line. And that's what you can do with a Wacky rig. Now, my bass in my pond are small. My bass at my fishing club are small. I have caught 5, 6, 7 pounders. Oh, come on. There we go. 5, 6, 7 pounders doing the same thing. That's a nice little pond bass. Whoop! And give him flip, flop, flip. And there we go. Alright, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.